Welcome back to the Pawd for another episode here in our studio. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Taylor, and we're here with Kelly Csernica, our Director of Sports Nutrition here at Fresno State.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
so
for showing
Kelly,
up.
you're new here.
I am, yes.
So tell us a little bit about what led you to Fresno State.
Yeah, so the biggest and most obvious reason was Coach Entz. So I had worked with Coach Entz at North Dakota State for 3 years, so we have that history. And coming into this program, his same philosophy was brought here in terms of how to fuel, how to feed, how to get bigger. And so I was fortunate enough that he saw my work and he trusted the way that I could develop a program, and he kind of extended the offer to me, told me about it. He really sold it. He really was doing his, said there's mountains around, there's lakes around. I know you like to hike. And so he was doing everything. And so that was really the biggest draw that pulled me out here. I've seen the way that he builds a program, a culture, and a team, and it was a no-brainer for me to kind of take that step.
I know you've been locked down with fall camp, but have you gotten to do any hikes? Or?
I have. When I first got here in January, I was probably out almost every weekend up until spring ball, trying to explore as much as I could with my dog.
What's been your favorite part so far? Obviously a foodie because your nutrition background,
Yes.
but what's been that thing that you're like, we're going here, we're going here? What are those things?
In terms of Fresno?
Yeah.
The mountains. I love the mountains. I love the lakes. And so I've been up to Yosemite a handful of times, a couple other lakes around. Just any excuse for a little day trip. Being able to go out and back in the same day is great. Fargo, North Dakota did not have any mountains within 4 hours, so it's great to be able to make a day trip out of it.
Yeah, it's definitely, you got Shaver, you got Bass, you got wherever you can go, it's all within an hour.
Yeah,
so.
even Pincushions, like 25 minutes, and so that's like a morning trip, and then you're back for lunch.
Not a cakewalk of a hike.
No, it gets those legs burning.
So let's talk about your philosophies. Let's talk about your nutrition room, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What is that point one for you? Where do you start with everything when the student athletes walk in?
My biggest emphasis is education. I love to teach, and I think that providing the skills and teaching the how and the why is so much more impactful than just giving the what. And so when a student athlete comes in, we'll kind of start, well, what do you know? What do you not know? What are your current habits? How can I teach small changes along the way that can turn into habits? So not just giving a blueprint and saying do X, Y, Z in order to reach whatever goal, but what are you doing currently and why? What are the barriers? What are the reasons that you are doing what you're currently doing? And then using education and empowerment to help them make those choices on their own, so I don't have to hold their hand along the way, and then they can learn and they can grow into those new habits.
How big is that learning process for you? Obviously, you're trying to develop good habits because they're 17, 18 years old when they get to you, or you're inheriting a 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old.
Yeah.
What is that development like for you?
It really depends on the person. You have some who are coming in even out of high school and have been cooking for their family and are really engaged and are really receptive to the information and willing to make those changes and willing to learn along the way. And then you have some 22-year-olds who eat like 5-year-olds. And so they're a little bit more of a challenge in terms of finding the points that are going to stick with them and finding the reason. Like sometimes you just need to say the same thing in a different way, or you need to use a different phrase or a different reasoning, and that's going to click for them. So it's a little bit of teasing out what that is for people because it's different for everyone.
It's more than just a box of mac and cheese.
Exactly. Yeah.
So take us through a day in the life. Specifically, let's do fall camp because those are extremely long days, even though that's not the only sport that you cover. But take us through a day of fall camp.
Yeah, fall camp is a lot more focused on the food service side. So the education happens a lot in the off season when you have the time to practice and install those new habits. And then fall camp, my biggest role is from a food service standpoint. So we serve them 4 meals a day. So we have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then a late night snack, which for the average person is just a whole nother meal. It's a big snack, but it's a snack. So I will be around on campus, usually around 6 o'clock, to make sure that all of those meals, that breakfast gets started off the right way. And then a lot of it's just starting our practice prep. I have a staff of about 6 students over the summer that have been helping me, helping prep what we need for practice, all of our hydration, our recovery, our rehydration protocols that we'll do after practice. They help kind of manage all of that, because prepping that for 115 athletes is quite a lot. So they help me handle all that. Then we have our other meals throughout the rest of the day, and then our big emphasis in fall camp is hydration, and so we'll do weigh-ins and weigh-outs before and after practice to be able to track fluid loss in terms of how much you lost, what do you need to rehydrate with. So part of my role is just pushing that throughout the day. If we monitor those athletes and say, this is one who's in our red flag category, you lost a lot of fluid, that can lead to some your performance, your negative performance effects. So cramping is the most obvious one that people say, oh, you have to rehydrate more. But it's also dizziness, it's nausea, it's lack of appetite, lack of focus. They have meetings later in the day, so if they're dehydrated, they're falling asleep. So it's stuff to continue pushing throughout the rest of the day. We'll do more weights for them, for anyone who lost a lot, just to keep that accountability up, make sure that they're staying on top of it, staying focused throughout the day, and managing the rest of our meals. I'm out at practice with the team, focusing on some of that rehydration, out at walkthrough with rehydration. So big focus on that food service side.
Numerically, what do those weights look like? Like,
in terms of how much people
I'm just
lose?
curious, like yes, in hydration.
Yeah, so our cutoff is, or the red flag cutoff is 2% of your body weight. So if you are 150 pounds and you lose more than 3 pounds of fluid in a practice, then that's kind of like, whoa, we got to really focus, really, really push it. But we'll have guys who lose nothing up to 10 pounds, and those are the ones that we have to push a little bit. We really have to be on it. And some of it is, they're just heavy sweaters. It's naturally how they are. When it's 100 degrees out and you're working for 2+ hours in full pads, you're gonna be sweating a lot. And so we push it as much as we can, but some of those on the back end, we have to be really proactive before practice and then after practice, because we know that sometimes that just, you can limit it to maybe a 3-pound loss, but heavy sweaters are just heavy sweaters.
Now, does that change like season to season? Like, obviously right now you're in the hottest part of the year with the most amount of work. Does that change when you get to spring or even later into fall? Like, does that change in the winter? When will you start to scale things back, not just hydration wise, but what nutrients or whatever they might be needing in a meal?
It can a little bit. Your body can adjust based on how acclimated you are to the heat. So in the winter, when you're not outside, not in full pads, you are probably losing a little bit less. If you're a heavy sweater, you will still be a heavy sweater in the winter, but your rate of sweat loss might change a little bit depending on how acclimated you are, what the environment is, how many clothes you're wearing, what the temperature is, what the humidity is. So it changes a little bit. The biggest focus is during fall camp and the season. Winter, we don't push it quite as hard just because they're in the weight room for maybe 90 minutes, not as long of a stretch as a full practice is. And so typically they're able to kind of get back to those goal weights more easily than they do during camp.
How does your job fluctuate? Obviously, fall camp right now, you're trying to keep them happy, healthy, and full bellies. But winter, obviously, you're still doing all of that, but now they're putting weight on, they're losing weight, they're whatever muscle mass, that type of stuff. How does your job change from season to season as well?
I think of the seasons in different phases that are matched as closely as I can with our strength programming, our conditioning programming, because that's really where strength and nutrition can align. And so winter, a lot of that comes to the education, and that's the part that I really love. But so if that is the phase where we are trying to get bigger and stronger, and from January to May, if that is our biggest time of lifting heavy and gaining that mass, that is giving you the stimulus to build that muscle, but the fuel is going to help actually give you the tools to let your body grow. And so winter is big on education. We will create we as in coaching staff, Coach Ward and myself will create goals for each player in terms of their year, their development, what position are they, do they have 1 year left, do they have 4 years left, what does their development look like? And so we'll create body goals, body weight, body composition goals for them, and then my job is to help put that plan into action in terms of what does the timeline look like. It's not something that's going to happen all within 6 months, especially if it's a newer player. It's going to be spread out over even years. And so winter's that big education, and so that's when we'll take those players that we want to see those changes in. I'll meet with them either individually if it's a little more tedious, a little bit more work, or sometimes as a position group or as a group when I'm trying to hit a lot of people with similar points at the same time. That's an efficient way to do it. So we might start with a group of 30 athletes who we want to get big. So we'll do a body weight, weight gain, educational presentation with them. And then from there, kind of work on a more individual case-by-case basis in terms of what strategies individually can you take from that education you learned and tease it into your own habits.
So during my fall camp interviews, I had a tight end say that he put on 15 pounds to be more effective for blocking, for, run.
Yep.
But he didn't want to lose any mobility and still wanted to keep some of that speed. So how did you make that plan for him?
Yeah, that comes back to the different phases of the year, different phases of training, how nutrition and strength can align. And so those 15 pounds did not come all within the same month period, but it happens when you're in that strength building phase. You build that size, you work with that size, and then you condition at a little bit bigger of a size, and you're able to let your body work. You're able to let your body build that size without losing any speed. And then you build a little bit more, and then you add a little bit more speed to it. And so you're able to do it in kind of small chunks at the same time versus trying to get to that size and then trying to catch up and let your body, you lose some functionality with it if you're just trying to get to that number without actually going through the right process.
And then on the flip side, I had a quarterback say that he lost 15 pounds to be more mobile, but obviously playing offense, you want to be able to absorb hits, you want to be able to bounce off tackles. So how do you lose weight without, Andy called it losing your armor?
Yeah, exactly. It's a process. It's a slow process, I would say, for that one. It's kind of same thing with gaining weight. It's slower than a lot of people realize in terms of doing it correctly. And so with that, we want to focus on your solid habits, but just small changes throughout. And so in a loss like that, I would want to see that like a 15-pound loss over like 12 to 16 weeks, 3 to 4 months to really see that happen. And that way you can maintain some of that muscle mass, you can maintain that strength, that durability with it, and you're not just getting skinny as you're losing weight, but you're holding onto that stability.
So a slow but steady process is what you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of that sounds like it starts with food.
It does.
And what you're eating, how you're eating, the type of things that you're eating. So
Yeah.
I guess tell us about like the food process of your job and how you pick what meals are like, how you pick how to feed a team or what they're going to have within an hour of a workout finishing versus right after a game where they just burned however many calories and pounds.
Yeah. It's a combination of the science and preferences, because you could put some boring, bland food out for them and they will not eat it. So it's being able to tie those two together. So before practice, before games, we like to focus on our simple carbs. So even pretzels are hard because they're salty and then it makes their mouth dry and then they feel dehydrated. And so even some salty snacks, we have to limit a little bit. But fruit snacks, Rice Krispie treats, fruit, they're big on grapes. So pre-practice, we focus on those simple carbs. Post-practice, we'll combine some carbs, some protein in a fun way, again, because they're not going to eat it if it doesn't taste good. Like you said before, they're 18 to 22-year-olds, and sometimes they just need it to taste good. And so it's kind of a balance sometimes, being able to give up maybe a little bit of that nutrient side, but knowing that it's something that they're going to eat. When it comes to meals, it's having variety in terms of days of the week. When we're feeding them 4 times a day, they will get food fatigue. It is a lot of time eating in the same location. And so trying to add a variety with what we have throughout the day, but also throughout the week, different styles of food, different hot foods, cold foods, and varying our protein sources. We do fish sometimes. Sometimes we'll throw in some fried chicken. And having options there for both the players that are trying to put on some muscle and the players who need to lean out a little bit or want to focus on kind of a higher quality, a more nutrient dense option. And so being able to have those options where they can take those tools that we've learned and mix and match to create their plate based on their individual goals.
What goes into the post-practice smoothies? Those always look so good.
Yes. So those, there's not really anything fancy. Those we usually just do milk, yogurt, protein powder, and fruit. Okay. So it's nothing crazy. We'll do in the off season during the winter, we'll do weight gain smoothies. And so they have a special protein powder that's it's got a ton of protein, some extra carbs in it, so it's got a lot of calories. We usually add peanut butter, we add oatmeal, we just throw everything we can in there, and it's like an 800-calorie shake for them. But post-practice, they did not seem to want that. So we had to keep it a little bit lighter.
So when the teams are on the road, and you travel with football.
Yes.
So explain what you do on the road for football.
Again, a lot on the food service side. So I will plan all of our meals for that weekend. So typically we'll get there Friday afternoon. And so I will have meals planned from Friday night dinner, Friday snack, depending on our game time, Saturday. Any meals that we have on Saturday. So I make all the menus for that, working with the hotel chefs to make sure that they're able to prepare it in the style that we want, the right food, the right quantities. And then a lot of the same pregame and postgame strategies that we have during practice, I try to take to the game as well. You never want to try anything new on game day, so I do my best to keep it as similar to practice as it will be during the game. So I'll have the same pre-practice snacks on the road as we have in our nutrition lounge, and making sure that they have familiar products that they know are going to sit well in their stomachs, they know they're going to perform well on, they feel comfortable eating, and just keeping it as similar and as comfortable while they're in a new location.
And even plane rides, right? So when the team goes to Hawaii this year, what does that look like for you to be planning that 6-hour flight?
Yeah. So it's a combination. We'll have a pre-flight meal before they're even on the plane. I think they're getting fed, I believe, 2 times on the plane. And then again once they're landed. So it's frequency of eating is very high, so they'll have that food access to them. And then hydration's big on planes too, because planes can dehydrate you. So we will provide a ton of water and Gatorade throughout the flight, encouraging them to drink a full bottle every hour and making sure they're hydrating throughout, because landing in that weather and being already dehydrated is not going to be a good recipe. And so we're going to try to curb that, be proactive about it while they're in the air.
Now you say feed them 2 times on the plane after that. Is that like snack style foods, or is that like a full meal?
That'll be full meals. It'll be 2 full meals that the plane is it'll be like airline style, that the flight attendants will bring around to everyone.
I was going to say, we're going to run up the Uncrustable bill.
Oh, I know. That'd be a lot.
I don't know if you heard that they did a poll last year on NFL teams and Uncrustables, and the Broncos ate like 5,000 in a day or something. Yeah, it was unreal.
They actually like our handmade PB&Js more than the Uncrustables.
Really?
Shout out.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
I was shocked.
what a compliment.
I know, it's more work for us. But I was like, they're bigger actually, so I like them because you can get more calories in. But I was kind of surprised.
Shout out there.
Yeah, go nutrition staff.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Andy. Can you debunk some popular fads or something that people think will help them lose weight or gain weight that isn't backed by science?
I had time to prepare for this one. I'm going to say energy drinks.
Okay. No, not the energy drinks.
Yeah.
No.
So here's the thing about the energy drinks is what is the purpose you're looking for, right? I like to call them stimulant drinks because they don't actually give you any energy.
You're
Most of the
breaking my
time
heart here.
I'm sorry. Most of the time there's 0 calories. There's no actual energy in them, but they will stimulate you a little bit. But it's all the marketing that goes with them. I'm like, okay, you need a little bit of caffeine. That's fine. But do you need the taurine and the BCAAs and the coenzyme Q10? Probably not. There's a lot of research that says it doesn't even do anything. There's no evidence to support that actually does stuff. And then it makes all the claims, speeds your metabolism, helps you lose. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Just have a cup of coffee. Like,
I think we picked a nerve here.
yeah.
So stick with the coffee. So
Yeah.
So if people need some energy, have them drink the coffee.
Yeah. Especially with athletes, energy drinks actually become really risky because it's such a high concentration of caffeine, and there's typically other stimulants in it that can really mess with your heart rhythm and can cause arrhythmia, especially if you're drinking one. You're slamming an energy drink right before you're about to go to practice when your heart rate's already going to be at 180, and then you add 300 milligrams of caffeine on that, and there are some really dangerous consequences that have come within the athletics field. And so that's one that I'm always, I joke about it with some of our athletes, but it's a really serious concept, and it can have some really dangerous effects.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that obviously safety is part of your job as well. And the knowledge, again, you go back to education. You said that's the biggest thing you build your program on. And so education.
And one of the things with education is I like to offer substitutes. So kind of like with the coffee. So I did a team education on energy drinks. And if you want a stimulus, what is in the energy drink? What are we going to go through? And we went through kind of those ingredients in it. If you choose one, here's what to look for. Look for a lower dose of caffeine. Drink half of it at a time. Have some coffee that has fewer ingredients in it. So it's not just a red flag, no, don't have any of it, because then they're just going to ignore you and drink it anyway. But let's provide a safe alternative for you to consume safely. Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite part about season?
Ooh, I love the energy. It's just go all the time, but when you're out there on the field and things are moving and things are going well, it's contagious, that energy from the players, and especially when you're right down there with them. It's just fun. That's why we do it. We do it to be a part of the team and to have that team atmosphere. And so being able to have that every week, it's what everyone looks forward to in the off season.
Now, you've been part of the ramp walks with practice and spring ball, but are you excited for that first home game?
Of course. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It'll be really fun. I think that kind of walkout experience, no matter where you are, is really special, and getting to know the players for this long before you have that is even more impactful. I've been at a couple other places for shorter periods of time, and you don't get to know the players quite as well, and you do, like, that pregame ritual, it still means something, but not quite as much as when you have such a connection with who's actually out there, who's taken down that ramp. And so I'm really excited.
What have you heard about a game day at Fresno?
I've heard it's typically a packed house, so I'm really excited for that. I live pretty close, and so I'm not gonna be home, but you can probably hear it from my house, and so I'm excited to actually be a part of that and to be down in there.
We will have to get your reaction after the game, because I would love to hear from someone who it's their first time seeing the red wave and walking down the ramp, because it really is a special place, definitely.
Yeah, I'll find you.
We'll be down there, don't worry. We'll find you, you find us. What's a part of the job that nobody thinks about? The things that you do day in, day out, they're like, oh, that's the nutritionist, dietitian, whatever. They just handle that. What's that thing that's the other duties as assigned maybe that you handle, and it's like kind of one of those pride points for you?
I would say training and teaching our staff is a big one. We had, this past spring, we had 12 students. The summer, we had 6, but so I will manage them, get them to work in that hands-on manner, making sure that our fueling station, our nutrition lounge is up to speed, but then back to that education point, I want to teach them how to be young dietitians as well. And so trying to take them through my process and giving them more and more responsibility the longer they are here. So then when they leave, they didn't just go stock shelves for however many years they were here, but they maybe stocked a few shelves, but then they learned how to budget and they ordered some catering and they built our menus and they worked with maybe a team or two. And so being able to build that from the ground up, since I have gotten here in January, I've been really proud of how much retention we've had with our staff and their independence and responsibility.
What is a day like in the nutrition lounge?
It's chaos. Oh, it's chaos. Our nutrition lounge is usually open about 6 a.m. For any pre-practice needs / breakfast needs that any early morning practice teams have. And then it's pretty much go, go, go all day long until 7 p.m. I will have staff there usually about 9 or 10 hours a day, just kind of replenishing as we need with how much food we go through. And in the downtime, they'll do some of those extra projects that I mentioned, but it's a lot of just, as soon as you fill something, it's gone again. And sometimes it's so frustrating. I'm like, I just filled the chips and then they're gone.
The chocolate milk.
I
The
just read on
chocolate milk, oh my gosh.
15,000 bottles?
1,500.
Oh, okay.
Which is still a lot.
There was an extra zero on the sheet. And I was like, who's drinking?
No,
Who's
1,500.
drinking the chocolate milk?
We're just having chugging contests in the locker room.
I think our baseball team are the biggest culprits.
Really?
They demolish the chocolate milk after lifts. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
It's a lot.
In the heat?
Yeah, they love it, which I'm a fan of. I think chocolate milk is one of the best post-workout things you can eat. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot to manage.
1,500 is quite a few.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And that's a day, you said, right?
A week.
A week. Okay, sorry. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we don't have fridge space for that.
No, we're getting fresh shipments every hour, it feels like at that point.
No, it's a lot.
For those people that are interested in maybe jumping in and learning more, students that want to get a hold of you, where should they go? How do they get a hold of you? Where can they find you? Whatever. Tell them that.
Yeah. My email is on our website in terms of reaching out. I usually, at the start of each semester, will try to go to 2 or 3 nutrition classes or kinesiology classes on campus and do a little spiel, like a little 5-minute. If you want to see how the world of collegiate athletics works, if you want a step in the door, even if someone who's interested in more of the strength side, I still think it's a really good way to get familiar with how things run. What are the hours like? What is the culture like? What is the standard that we have? And so just a way to get your foot in the door. So I'll try to do some on-campus recruiting, but my email's on the website.
GoBulldogs.com under the staff directory. Look for it there.
Yes.
Anything that we missed as your job title loosely revolves around? What else did we not talk about that maybe it goes into your job?
I am, me and our other dietitian, so together we have all of the sports on campus. So we split them up between the both of us and to make sure we were reaching every single athlete. And again, this is where education comes back into play. So with football, I talked a lot about the food service side of it. But a lot of the other sports with smaller teams, most of what I do is focus on that education in terms of reaching the highest number of athletes the most efficiently. So we'll do team talks with them, individual meetings with them, to make sure that every athlete has access to the same resources, making sure that everyone is still fueling properly, preventing injury. If there's referrals from our athletic trainers of athletes that, for whatever reason, have a nutrition focus, whether it's post-surgery, post-concussion, if it's injury prevention, someone who just has a frequent pattern of previous injuries. Any athletic trainers who travel with the team who might notice someone who has habits that are not conducive to performance, they might send them our way. And so just making sure that we're available for everyone and that we do our best to touch every team and to still meet with and to see every face on campus.
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all I got for today. Glad that you were able to join us and very shortly we'll be walking down that ramp for
I'm
your
excited.
first
I
game.
can't wait. How many days? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? We're almost there.
We're very close. That's what we are. So appreciate you guys joining in today. Again, this is Kelly Csernica, our Director of Nutrition, Sports Nutrition here on campus. Again, if you're interested, find her email on our website, gobulldogs.com. And whatever questions you might have, if you're a student and getting involved, she will be there to answer. And you guys will see her on the sideline very shortly.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.